Okay, so we have a lot to cover today. I have a two-page, two-sided thing with
Wow.
multi bullet points, and it's going to be a really fun experience today. I think there's going to be, I feel like this is, I feel, even though things are getting pretty dark in the US right now in terms of the stripping back of everything, DEI on the back end, even in corporations, I was saying on Instagram, there is a battle going on, even in corporate and pharmaceutical companies, where DEI really is important for women scientists, many of whom I've coached myself from the PhD level and geneticists and researchers, biologists, and these things that are going to pharmaceuticals, having taught, like, coached and taught in the pharmaceutical world. There's so much like male energy that it needs to be balanced by female scientific energy. It has to be. Even on the finance side and the science side. So I was
Um,
seeing that in my
mhm.
my stock votes this week, which is why I say buy stock so you have a say. But let me kind of just go through the introduction. You guys all know what I do, but I'm just putting this here on the video so that people who watch can get to know me, see what I'm doing, why I'm doing these sessions. So yeah, basically, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us this month. Of course, as always, I enjoy talking with you via DM and everything that you're sharing with me, your personal stories, your personal struggles. I have let you know that I started doing clarity sessions again. I'm already doing them already with people in California, people in the network, helping people. And of course, I've been doing this on the back end all the time, but now it's like I'm putting myself back out there now that I have bandwidth from having finished law school and that whole process. So there's that. Again, one of the great news is because of this inner circle in the newsletter, I want to say thanks to everybody who's been recommending me for podcasts, who has been bringing me on. Anthony Bellata had me on to his podcast, Bellatified, and they're in San Diego. I used to work for them back in the day when I was a baby, new graduate from undergrad, and work with them in the entertainment industry. And they had me on, and we were getting to talk about that. And we asked some really good questions in that one. I share about my near-death experience. I talk about how we can get along these days. And it's a really, really, really good interview. And I've volunteered and I've worked with Alex and with Anthony. And I think that you'll benefit from listening to that particular podcast. It's just on audio, no video, but I think you could even hear it on YouTube. Again, as always, thank you for supporting my books. You guys buy my books, you read my books, so thank you for that. And I really appreciate that. And if anybody's listening and you want to know more about me, then I definitely recommend that you go onto Amazon and purchase my books. Even on Kindle, you can even read them for free on Kindle if you have a membership, and Google Play audiobooks if you're not a reader. And then the other thing is you want to learn more about me, author Leslie on YouTube, follow my life in France, meet awesome people like Laura, who's in on this session today, wonderful, kind people of Castle Notary who've brought me in. I love living here. I'm on a mission to bring as many American refugees to Castle Notary. I will hook you up with gorgeous French men. I will go and I will hunt for you. And if and
It's
if you got a man, girl, then we will just sit at the cafe. We will look, right? We're just gonna look.
and enjoy the good food.
That's
Yes.
right. We will eat and we will look. Window shopping. So there's the introduction. We got a lot to cover today, but it's all good stuff, I feel. It's kind of like you have to remember when we're talking, and if you've had like a tarot reading or if you've had like a fortune telling reading, there's always two sides to the coin, right? And so the metaphor today and spiritual is going forward, and something I want you to have in terms of your perspective is what's the other side of the coin to this? So we're going to talk about the ugly side of the coin, and then we're going to talk about the good side of the coin. So the first one is you can tell based on all the interviews lately how Trump is being handled. This is a clear sign of his psychological and his mental and brain decline. He's barely making any public appearances. He's barely going out and having talks. He's just signing things for people and doing his little executive orders. And if you notice, and I've seen a lot because I watch Midas Touch like 6 times a day, and they feed the loops of the interviews. But you can tell he's kind of being moved around, like shuttled and shuffled around, and he's really not coherent. And you could see in even his Mar-a-Lago videos, he's almost falling out of his golf cart. He has no coordination, which is a symptom of his brains not crossing. So there's the good thing in terms of him being harmless. The bad thing is the other side of the coin is that he's being handled. He's got like a group, and I don't know if you guys have seen me, but I did posted a story with the dowsing rods about, is he really in control? It was no, it was a group of people who was doing it for him. So what you have essentially is a puppet presidency, very similar to what we see in North Korea and these kinds of things like that. The son of Kim Jong-un, he's just this figurehead. He's not the thinker. He's just a part of the party. He himself is a pawn. So what we see now is when we first met Trump on Twitter a million years ago, let's say 2010, he was very active in speaking his mind. You don't see that anymore. He's not speaking his mind. He's just repeating things that have been told to him, and he can't really read that well. So whatever he's saying is not really cohesive and cognizant of what he's actually saying. So I guess in the short story is that the real danger is in the handlers and not in the front man. I think a lot of people give way too much credence to Trump this, Trump that. He's not doing anything. He doesn't know anything. He's not present of mind. He's halfway gone. I kind of joked. I said, "Who let the bloated corpse out of the river?" Because that's what it looks like when he's walking around. But honestly, he's halfway dead. So it really is these people around him that are handling him. So on the good side, he's not there. On the bad side, there is the handlers. Who are they? But stay tuned to that. I'm going to reveal that later on. The second thing is the dignified transfer and the message to the troops. Me being a military brat of two branches of the military, Air Force and Army, and having lived and being born on the military grounds, I'm not gonna lie, it pissed me off to see that he couldn't even be bothered. They couldn't even be bothered to just drag his ass there to show respect to our troops. That's me and my personal take on it. But the real thing is the message that MAGA is playing. They used our troops, they used our veterans, and that the message goes even deeper going forward is that it's not just rude, it's revealing. That one, there is this psychological warfare that the MAGA regime, the Trump regime, if you will, are saying to our veterans and our troops, you are disposable. And what I heard Spirit say was, I will use you, I will abuse you, and I will throw away your carcass when I'm done with you. And ultimately, this has revealed, and other economists and other political people are saying, this has revealed how much, as a capitalistic society, the United States has used our military just to have global hegemony capitalistically in terms of controlling ports, controlling the flow of logistics. But I think that's really going to change because given the fact that what was it? There was another country. Oh gosh, I can't. Not Singapore. It was another one that just joined the Russia economic group. There's Brazil. There's Russia, China, Japan. All of these. They're moving into that rather than joining the G7. So you have this shift of global economic power happening, and that our military was being used to control that economic power. And when we're saying to our troops who are right now and dealing with the whole Yemen thing, the Houthis and all that, we don't care about you. In fact, we don't even care if we leak out stuff that could get you killed. The other side of the coin is, where are the loyalty of our troops going to go when things get bad? It ain't going to go to them. You know that they make us swear, solemnly swear an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, but even more so now, this revelation of we will use you, abuse you, and throw away your carcass when you're done is going to reinforce even more this resistance from our military. I would say energetically, it feels like at least 80% of our military is not for the Trump regime. So there is this kind of benefit to what they have done because it shows they don't even care. They don't even care that our men and our women are dying for capitalism, basically. So there's that. The next one is there's a positive component of all of the things that the Trump regime have been doing. The things that they're doing is about, taking away DEI, firing people indiscriminately, taking people and kidnapping them and throwing them in El Salvadorian prisons. There's all of these things that are happening. And guess what? They're breaking the law. And so what's going to happen is, and is happening, is that individual nonprofit groups, administrative groups, people who have been violated by the Trump regime, and the attorney general and these administrations, there's lawsuits after lawsuits after lawsuits. The good news is, the other side of the coin of that is that the justice system at the federal level is working, and they are working overtime to, what I say, defang the regime. Because Trump is famous for using and weaponizing the civil court system against all the people that he doesn't like. And he has been using, in his last presidency and in this one, the court system and the executive branch and weaponized it against people he doesn't like. And so what we're seeing is the positive side to that is that he's going to lose. And I just felt over this last week is almost like all these lawyers coming, ACLU, all these people, and it's a death by 1,000 bites. Imagine this is like a dog being bitten by 1,000 fleas. So yeah, the dog's big. It's Trump and the Trump regime, and they have all this control and they have all this seeming power. But what you're seeing is lawsuit after lawsuit and state after state, because we have all these districts, federal districts, the circuit court. So they're coming at him from all different angles. And the awesome thing about it is that they're being out litigated. They're being outsmart because the Trump regime doesn't know administrative law very well. It's so obvious. Even for me, I'm like, these people, they're not playing chess. They're just playing tic-tac-toe. And that these good lawyers are coming in and they're going to completely destroy and wipe the floor with this Trump regime. Furthermore, my feeling is with Amy Coney Barrett, Supreme Court Justice, she does not like that she has been played and used and even threatened and abused. I think that she will turn more and more on the MAGA and the Republican regime. She is the balancing judge that can either swing us one way or another. She has 8 kids. I think, even though probably her kids are all private school, I think she realizes like defunding the Department of Education is a pretty damn bad idea. So I think like she's getting on board more and more. Not so much on liberal ideology, if you will, but I think more in terms of procedure of what this democracy represents, following the Constitution. And it is so blatant that the Trump regime is not following the Constitution and violating so many laws that it's like more than just pissing her off and aggravating her. It's almost, I feel energetically like almost like a revenge. She's like, okay, try me. And she will. She does in her rulings get very specific and kind of like technical. And so it kind of keeps her more in the conservative house. But the way that she words it and the way that she positions her vote still helps balance the scale. So we do have something. And I remember when she was put in, I was pretty freaking pissed because we knew where Roe v. Wade was going to go. But unfortunately, even Ruth Bader Ginsburg said that Roe v. Wade was going to be a very, very weak, very, 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 very weak argument to maintain women's bodily autonomy rights based on the premise that women's reproductive health choices are just in the realm of the doctor's privacy. That's not a very strong argument, and we have to do better than that. But knowing Amy Coney Barrett's conservatism, if you will, she kind of ruined it for us. But she also set, on the other side of the coin, she also set this precedent that states need to come in and codify within the Constitution women's rights. So again, it seems murky and messy when I'm talking about it and when you're seeing it. But when you see the flow from a legal point of view, there is a logic to all of this. And what these dirty lawyers and these dirty politicians and these MAGA cronies in their ilk are trying to do is they're hoping so badly that people don't know the law better than them and they don't know how to play the cards of the court. They have been using and weaponizing civil procedure and criminal procedure against people for so long that they think, oh, well, we're just going to get away with it. But fortunately for us, again, the other side of the coin is that there's really good lawyers out there and they are outsmarting these dum-dums. So there is that. Let's see here. Okay, there's going to be more lawsuits and more investigations, I feel, inside of the Department of Justice. That's my feeling. I feel that because the Department of Justice is not investigating and prosecuting what has been happening, like with this whole signal gate, they're sitting on their hands. And yes, administrations, police, and all of these executive branches have the opportunity to decide in good faith if prosecuting somebody or going after somebody is going to be worth it for the government. And they can decide, just like the Biden administration and Obama administration, whether or not they want to deport people if they want this and that. But the level of them sitting on their hands has been so egregious that my feeling and my sense is that there's going to be lawsuits from the inside because they're basically like the mafia. You know, the mafia police, like, if you pay me for protection, I'll protect you. But then when it comes to real crimes and real problems, they're not doing anything. They're not helping anybody. I think what we'll see is lawsuits and investigations from the inside and revelations from people going, these people aren't doing their job. They're not prosecuting the bad guys. It's a free-for-all. And you're going to see more of that. Going forward with that, and building on top of that from a national scale to a global scale, I see what I have been shown today actually was the UN and the International Court of Justice. I feel like on the back end, there's some discussions about how they can hold the Trump regime accountable for human rights violations. So I'm sensing that there is some discussions on how can we pull these people into the court and how can we hold them internationally liable, if you will, for human rights violations, shipping people to El Salvador, not giving people due process, ripping people away from their families in the middle of the night, discriminating against people for having tattoos of silly things like soccer teams and other meaningful personal things like autism tattoos. It's crazy. I feel like there's going to be a reach for that. And the reason why I say this, and this is important, is because if you did not notice, as soon as the Trump regime got installed into power, they withdrew from the Human Rights Council, the United Nations. They did that on purpose. So one, they wouldn't have to be held accountable at those meetings. Yeah. And the second part is that they're just going to be like, well, you know, international law says that the world exists at a level of anarchy, meaning that every state kind of operates on its own. And because of treaties, we can hold each other to a certain standard. Well, the United States was one of the co-drafters of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And suddenly, I mean, I got the whole list of them. I got certified in it so I could teach it. We're violating all of these human rights that we were co-drafters in. It's insane. So there is this level of accountability. Laura, You said Europeans are on the breach of rebellion. Something is about to crack. Wait, tell us a little bit more what you think about that. Let me
Sorry, I
un
was trying to get back on.
There you go.
Um, there's something going on in the atmosphere, something really, really powerful, in the sense that even in within each state in Europe, there's even the politicians in France, the politicians in the UK, the politicians in other countries of Europe are all. I mean, they're all speaking. I can hear Trump. I can hear people behind the Trump administration, and I'm thinking, but what are they doing? They're trying to brainwash people, okay? And what I can feel and what I hear when I have consultants is the fact that people have had enough. We've had enough. This has to stop. And I mean, and France is an absolutely fantastic country for sort of saying, we're going to stop this. I mean, we have Jeanne d'Arc, okay? We've been through massive strikes. And even though I don't really go with striking too much, I think what is important is that people speak their mind. And what I feel now, and me on my personal level, I am being pressed like a lemon, and
Mm.
to the point that I feel like at one, from this point now, this has to stop. Something has to stop, um, and it's global. It's global. I really feel it's global. And I mean, you're making a point about what's happening in the US, and I absolutely agree with you in the sense that I feel the same thing. Having I was born in the UK and I've been living in France in 1990. And I just feel this pressure. I feel a pressure. It's permanent, and something's breaking. Something's coming through. Something is happening, so that we're going to actually, we're going to feel it's going to be hard. We're going to go through some hard shit,
Mm.
but we're going to go through something difficult that's going to help us go forward, and we're going to get rid of some people that we really do not need. Now that's how I feel, and that's my intuition speaking. Okay, from a European point of view. So I absolutely agree with you. Yeah.
Thank you for that. That was good. I feel it's good to have a perspective of somebody who's been here a long time, who feels and speaks to that. Because yesterday, when we had the national protest, and they even had it here in France. I mean, people are not playing around.
Mm, mm,
And I feel that once these tariffs really hit,
mm,
it's all over all of us. All of us are feeling it. I feel it financially. I see it in my portfolio. I share with everybody on Instagram my numbers. I don't share how much I lost because you would cry if you saw that. But I could tell you I lost more than what a person earns in a year. And that ain't fun. It ain't fun, especially me when I just sold my house. Like it was not fun. And if I'm able to handle losing the income of what somebody can learn and earns in a year and a month because of what they have done, and everybody else is losing their income, their job security, their retirement. People, I mean, we saw yesterday. I'm going to be honest. For the first time in protesting in 10 years, I saw the most amount of old white people I'd ever seen in my life at a protest. Because I can tell you this right now, when I go to the protests, it's Mexicans, Asians, and Black people at those protests. It's us at those protests. Yesterday we were watching that global stuff, and Frank and I were like, "Wow, look at all those old white people." And Frank's like, "Yeah, well, they got something to lose now, finally." And it's sad because it took for a lot of white people to be treated like us brown people for them to finally realize, oh, we're being disenfranchised too. They don't care about us either. Well, no shit. They don't care about you. They care about enabling. And so With that, it's funny that you said, Laura, that people are going to be replaced. What I saw also, and what I've been shown, is that the voters are done. There's going to be a lot of Republicans who are going to be replaced. And even so, that even big donors are going to pull out. I also noticed in my energy stocks, big companies like Valero, Chevron, these types of companies, they're losing money. They're losing a lot of money, and there's going to be problems even in the energy sector. So I feel like the big companies who are not going to get foreign investment from China, from France, France said recently, hold all investment in the United States. The number one point of today, and we know this from business, is in law, we call it good faith. When you're doing contract law, you're doing a business and deal with somebody, it's always we're good faith actors. It's gotten so bad that the judges in the federal court have said, you guys are bad faith actors. You're purposely hiding information. You're hiding evidence. You're sabotaging my orders. You're sending people without due process. You're bad faith actors. And what the United States is showing the world is that we are bad faith actors. You cannot trust us with your money. You can't trust us with business. You can't trust us in the courts because we're not going to protect you. We're not going to help you at all. And so all that faith, which is what investment in business is all at, all that good faith is going to pull out. And only the people who have that good faith, who have existing communities like everyone here, I'm seeing something that Ali's saying, is going to, those will survive. It's not the weak won't survive. It's the ones that, it was like Trump said, oh, the weak won't survive or something like that. Well, if you're not really in a community and a connection, you don't have good faith around you, you're not going to survive anything. Let's see. Also interesting that there are no tariffs on Russia and North Korea. Yeah, that's I did a dowsing rod and it was like, is Trump being financed by the Russian government? And it was yes. And it was like, oh crap. Like they are in it. And the fact that Signalgate happened with one guy, one of the guys being in the Kremlin and being in Moscow. And so we've heard that they have the technology to instantly clone your phone. They know everything about us. We have completely made ourselves vulnerable, but we've also showed we're bad faith actors and we're morons. We are so dumb. Who wants to invest with dum-dums? Really? So there's that. Which goes into the next point, is that Trump is bad for business. We all here know that. Point on the screen. We all know that. But I think finally, me having coached in corporate, it is a white man's world. And boy, oh boy, in the years leading up to this election, a lot of them were counting on Trump. They were like, oh, I'm going to vote for Trump because Trump's going to be good on my taxes. He's going to be good on my business. He's not going to have regulations. He's going to wipe them away. And it's going to be a freaking buffet for corporate because they don't pay taxes. So the problem here is we see historically in the last time that Trump was in office, all these people got laid off. And even when Bush was in, and then they had the Obama recovery. Who paid first? Workers. They were laid off. And who got bonuses? All of these corporate executives. They got their big old bonuses. They walked away with big old fat checks. And we had to pay for that. The problem is that we're running on a deficit because we're not taxing the billionaires. We're not taxing the corporations. We just have tariffs now. Oh, look at this boy. He's getting a business education. Come on, child. Yay. So we've got this massive tax because what they're doing is on the back end, we're paying this tax bill on one side. The billionaires are getting the tax breaks on the other. It's so that way we can pay for their deficit. And the problem is that, and it's been told by economists, is that the United States has this massive, massive debt. Who owns most of our debt? China. And now we got all this problem. We're not going to have any more money anymore. And then we're giving tax breaks to corporations and to billionaires. And then we're not getting any money to cover our debts anymore. And so all of us are having to foot that bill. There will be a breaking point. And it was a cripple the United States business because 95% of businesses have less than 100 employees. Majority of these global corporations and these mega billion rich corporations, it's only like 5%. That's a fact. You can look it up in the Chamber of Commerce. You can look it up in the U.S. Bureau of Statistics. We're footing the bill. We have to foot the bill, but eventually that is going to go away and there will be revolution level. But I also think people who are in business and who are these big donors are going to start saying, we can't do that. It's going to wreck the economy. It's going to destroy the order of things, which also leads me to what I'm saying. I explain this a lot in my book, Bad Laws. It is coming out very, very soon. And I talk about how we are a producer and a consumer economy. And when we don't have demand, we lay off people. And then when we don't have people who are working, they can't consume. So it's going to grind to a halt. But not only that, we have this recession behavior, we also have crippling taxes and the increases costs of things. It's not going to be just, oh, recession and things are going to slow down. It's going to be depression level. It's going to be bad. The good thing about it is the other side of the coin. I think it's going to change the economy again. Just like when we had underemployment, we had gig economy. I think it's going to change the economy. I think people are going to go back to smaller. I think people are going to focus more on smaller businesses. I think that we're going to have a change of economy. Like this, there's one woman I love to follow on Instagram. I can't remember her name. She's a Black woman. She was a fashion designer. She kind of got pushed out of that industry and now she calls it the fluffy butt hut. She has like chickens and she has her children and she teaches them how to, you know what I'm talking about, Autumn? I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I love her.
I love her.
Yeah. And she teaches her children how to grow their own food and she makes her own honey and she makes all of her own concoctions. And I feel like we're going to go back to that, which is an awesome thing. So I feel on the other side of the coin, our over-reliance on overconsumption in corporate world is going to shift back to smaller communities. I think North County has a pretty good like environment for that because of the way that the economy has been. In North County and in San Diego, you see a lot of the pharmaceutical and the big money and the corporate money and the Qualcomm money. You have that, and then you have the smaller, the farms, and you have these types of things. So I think that there's going to be a shift in that. So we'll see. Okay, the next thing I have on my list is that I feel that there's going to be some revelations. Everything that I have built up on before about lawsuits coming from the inside of the DOJ, I think that with corporate, kind of the rebellion from within the corporate world and the realization that Trump and these tariffs are bad for business. I think that what you're going to also see, what I know we're also going to see is people setting up hidden cameras and they're going to be recording these bad faith actors. I think that there will be whistleblowers. I think there will be public confessions. I think that the evidence will start to come pouring out. I feel like what we're going to see is we're going to see people saying, and I felt this because I had seen some Secret Service men at the White House, and I could feel from them the energy that they were sending out. They're like, we're watching, we're listening, and we will be reporting. So I feel like there will be kind of espionage, if you will, from the inside. I feel like none of these MAGA cronies are safe anymore. I feel like you can't hide all of your wrongdoings anymore. And it's going to show that this little empire that they have built and that the Republican Party has spent the last 45 years building, by the way. And I talk about that in my book, Bad Laws. They have been building this in what I call they're televangelists for hate. That's what I call them. Because if you were like me and you watched Trinity Broadcasting Network straight out of Anaheim, California, since the early 90s, it's the same shtick. They're over makeup, they got all the stuff on, they got the clothes, and they're preaching and they're grifting and they're telling you to call in and give them money. This MAGA stuff is no different than these televangelists. They are televangelists for hate, and their new platform now are all these YouTubes and podcasters that Russia is paying hundreds and thousands of dollars a month to pretty much foil this country. So what you're going to see, I feel, is because of these televangelists for hate. I think people are just going to have enough. And what's good news about that, up up in the State Farm is the Black Farm on Instagram. Yes, that's who she is. And so the thing is that we're seeing this change with Midas Touch just taking this whole new level of news for people. And what's good about Midas Touch is that you have actual lawyers with real experience giving you the legal breakdown. So they're explaining to you. And when you have this contrast, again, two sides of the coin, televangelists for hate and real democracy champions, and you're being able to compare one side of the coin to the other, this awakening is going to happen because you realize I'm being lied to. And on top of that, there's new websites coming out that are telling you, Midas Touch has them as a sponsor. I'll have to remember their name, but they tell you the headlines that come out and who is sharing them. And it helps you to evaluate what is propaganda and what is not propaganda. And it's really interesting to see this technological shift, but also this positive change in reporting the news that we're actually able to have now from legal scholars and legal experts who are analyzing things from a pro-democracy point of view. And when I say pro-democracy, I don't just say from the left. I just say people who know the Constitution, who know the Bill of Rights, who know the law and how it's supposed to be applied in a due process sort of way. Now, I want to, if you don't know what due process is whatever is prescribed when you have a property right or you have a liberty right. The government can't just like squash you or tell you to shut up or take your stuff. There are processes by which the government has to respect your rights. And the Trump regime is completely shitting all over everybody's civil liberties and their property rights by threatening them. Well, if you don't work for me, he's saying to these law firms, if you don't work for me and if you don't give me free litigation support and legal services, I'm going to take away your access to government information. That's extortion. Like we're having this kind of like 1960s like communist like government big brother inside of your life. And I talk about this in my book, that there are some places where the government should not go. The women, we know that the government should not be going into our bodies. We had a court case about whether or not, loving. That's why they call it Virginia is for lovers, because of the loving court case. Because a black person and a white person couldn't get married. Well, the government can't come into your bedroom. The government can't come into your marriage. There are certain places where the government should not go. And I talk about that. And so this regime feels like the government has a right to go in everywhere. And yet these people are the don't tread on me people. They're hypocrites, absolute hypocrites. And so we're seeing that hypocrisy, but we're seeing it explained in a very articulate way with Midas Touch and all these other legal experts coming in and saying, oh yeah, they're counting on your ignorance of the law. And unfortunately, your ignorance of the law is not a defense. We can't just say, I didn't know it, so now they're taking advantage of me. So we have to arm ourselves with an legal education, even in a basic one. And I highly recommend Constitution for Dummies. That's my favorite book. Because that's the one I read in constitutional law class, probably 4 times. Okay, let's see. Okay, which leads me to this next point, the standard of perfection and the fall of false supremacy. I think that we have seen from this Trump regime that white supremacy is not that supreme. I think that they have shown us that they are not the supreme race of human beings. I think that's the other side of the coin of white supremacy. They have showed us in real time and high definition that these people are not careful, they are not respectful, that they're not this ultimate race, and that removing DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion is not the solution. And I speak to DEI not only as a career coach, executive coach, is that when you have these white supremacists and white men own banking, they own the corporate world, they own venture capital, they're going to create these arbitrary standards of success that you as a woman, as you as a minority have to meet. And you'll see it. I even see it when I want to apply for a job. You have to go to an ABA accredited school. Why? The state of California says that even if I'm not ABA accredited for my law school, I'm still California bar accredited. Why is even the state of California barring me when the state of California approves my university? You see what I'm saying? But even the legal system has these arbitrary standards that you have to meet. The educational system has these arbitrary standards you have to meet. These corporations have these arbitrary standards you have to meet. And so not only do we as women and as minority women have to meet to overcome all these barriers to entry, then there's these other standards that because of our birth and because of our economic position and because of our race, we were not able to meet. So we'll never get in the room. And if we finally do get in the room because of DEI, even white women are DEI hires, we don't even have a place there anyway, because we're going to get mansplained to hell. We all know that. I hate to say it, I think I finally have come out with just the level of injustices in the working world. I finally just get to come out with it because I'm not in it anymore. I don't have to sell myself into it. But boy, oh boy, we sure do offend the people because, somebody had me on a podcast and they were really upset about DEI. And I think, yeah, sometimes some people shouldn't be promoted. You have to do what's right for them. But unfortunately, DEI exists because we do have a history of racism in this country. And our Supreme Court justices have said, and I put this in my book, it's not just about hiring somebody, it's about undoing all of the harm that slavery has created in this country. The economic harm, the spiritual harm, the level of trauma from generations. And having grown up in the Bible Belt in the South, I'm telling you, when I grew up, a lot of kids didn't have their dads. They were in jail or in prison. There was a reason for that, because if you keep Black men in jail and prison, they ain't going to be taking jobs at the work, even if there is DEI. Their kids are not going to have access to education. There's no financial support. So we have to undo, and I talk about this in my essay for remedies, segregation, all of these Jim Crow laws. We have to see DEI is just one of the remedies, but it's not just a remedy for Black people or colored people. It's for women too, white women. And it's not just for women and white women too. It's for male veterans, disabled veterans, disabled people. So we have to see that if we take away that, then we're taking away for everybody else. But eventually, the people who design this unfolding of DEI, it's going to come for them. So, which leads me to my final point. We do have to create our own economies. I talk about this a lot in my women's financial freedom discussions, that women have always been creating our own economies. Black people have been creating their own economies. And the powers that be have tried to dismantle women's economies, dismantle Black people's economies, dismantle the economies of other nations. That's what we did. We did a fabulous job of doing that in Iran and Iraq in the 1970s. We completely destroyed those independent economies. But we're not going to be able to do that with the Asian economies. They're growing way too fast. Their GDP is growing way like 3% faster than the G7 economies. They're outpacing us. And that book, Crazy Rich Asians, oh, it's real. They have no idea because they prioritize education. And what have we been doing in the United States? Deprioritizing education. And now we're defunding education. This is the most insane thing in the world. We're not going to they want to bring manufacturing back to the United States. We could barely do math, and that's me included. But for real. So I'm just saying to all of us is that, yes, there is this massive disadvantage that we are going to put ourselves in as a nation. But as individuals, there's the other side of the coin. We're woke, we're awake to this, which is the good part about it. The other part of that is that the economy is going to go, it's going to go to shit. And we're already losing money. And I'm saying, no, I mean, Frank and I are concerned about the exchange rate because the value of the dollar is going to go down and hoping that people will buy our products. I don't think that that's going to work as an economic strategy. I really don't. And so the concern is having lived through this before and coached a lot of people through the last recession, you have to create your own economy. Networking really does work. You have to have these groups. These groups matter. The psychological and the emotional support does work. I did this in South Florida. It was a group called Premier Networking Alliance. It was a mayor of Coral Springs who I did coach, Scott Brooks. He did that group, and it was a very helpful group. So networking matters, creating your own economy matters, making sure that the people in your circle who are supporting you are there, and that you're taking care of yourself, which leads me now to the spiritual component of this. I can't believe 53 minutes have already flown already. Let's go to the spiritual component of it. Okay, so this is something that I talk with, having been an energy psychology practitioner for so long and having worked with so many energy psychology practitioners and healers, and people that I train and mentor in spiritualism, psychic ability, mediumship, and energy healing and energy psychology. You go, okay, what is the protocol? What is the energy thing that's going to be the best tool for me? And some people say hypnosis, and some people say tapping, and tapping is a great thing. Acupuncture, yoga, do all those things for your body. You have to take care of your body. But the most important thing, and this is what Spirit has taught me, having me being a Reiki master and a teacher, is that love. Love. It doesn't matter what protocol. I could just wave this lighter in front of you and say, by the healing power of the light, it's not the light. It's that I love you. My love for you and the love flowing through me to you is the healing force. When you go and you're healing, see, look, even Laura, Magic Hands Laura, I call her Magic Hands. Magic Hands Laura says, universal love. It's true. So our goal is to be open to love and say, love, God, spirit, universal love, Gaia energy, whatever you want to say, flow through me. Let me be a channel for love. So love is the healing force. And it does require us to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, because I always have to be really careful, because when I saw that thing, when they didn't do the dignified transfer, I wanted to say so bad. I could hear myself say, I was like, I'm pissed. You have to be careful what you say. Very, very careful. For me, I've learned to say, I surrender this to you, God, especially when Luna got hurt like that. I'm not a freaking surgeon. I can't fix her broken hip and her broken tail and her fractured legs. I can't stop her from bleeding on the inside. I don't know how to do that. And me doing this to her hips ain't going to fix it. It took a bolt to fix it. You see what I'm saying? Spirit works through all of us. Whether you're cutting hair, or whether you're helping people in HR, or whether you're volunteering, or whether you're laying hands or massaging people, or if you're like me and you're handing somebody their ass. That's what somebody said to me in a session recently. You handed me my ass and that helped me. Oh, okay. I was like, I don't remember doing that. But whatever it is, however the Lord, love, light will use you, you have to say, however you want me to be used right now, that's the way it has to be. And if it means that you have to be a bad bitch, be a bad bitch. It takes courage, a lot of courage right now. So love is the healing component, and love will work through you to heal your community, yourself, your family, whatever. And if the love comes through a medication because you have to take a pill, it takes a pill. If it comes through the vitamin, take the vitamin. If it comes through the healing massage, it comes through the healing massage. Take it. And remember, the Bible says all things work together for good for those who love the Lord. Love, 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 love. All things. So if it's medication, if it's a massage, it's a vacation, it's a ride down the road, if it's hanging out with your girlfriend and having a cup of coffee, all things serve you. And remember, the other thing is it's not just about serving others, that life serves you. And I'm saying this as women, as mothers with burnout fatigue, you got to let life love you. You have to let life serve you. That's so important right now. And that's why I'm so glad you're here, because you're letting me right now lighten your load a little bit. And as you light my load, that's what I'm saying. Don't forget yourselves love you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I feel, knowing all of you personally, we've all been burned out. We love a little bit too hard. It's time for us to receive. So I just say, when I'm saying, oh, what can I do? Well, maybe part of that is can I let things come in for me? And I really encourage all of you guys to allow life to wow you. I say that all the time. When Luna was, I say, all right, God, I'm ready for you to wow me, because I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. By a miracle of God, two women vet surgeons, they did that and they helped me with my cat. So it really is. Wow, what an amazing thing. Ah, I'm so excited to share that. Okay, so the other thing is you have to be brave in your love. You have to be very courageous right now. And part of that is using your voice and using the power of your tongue. And I think it's really important to stand up for yourself. I'm going to say it out loud so you give yourself permission to stand up for yourself, because all of us have experienced abusive MAGA types or abusive family members, or, even commenters on social media, which 90% of them are bots, by the way, let's just say. um, oh, good. I'm glad, Autumn. But I'm just telling you, it's like use your voice and stand up for yourself. And if you find yourself in a situation where somebody's being nasty or abusive, you just say, Leslie said I could be a bad bitch. So do it. I love that. And so the other thing is, it's really, really, really important from an energy psychology point of view, is your job is to relax. That's the only way you're going to make it through. You have to relax. And I say this because I speak from my own experience of having been like super tense, and I get tense and stuff. I get super physically tense. Your homework for until next month from me is to really learn to relax. And I'm not saying do avoidance activities. I'm not saying like smoking and having a glass of wine, or, sleeping in all day. I'm not saying that. I'm saying really learn to relax. Really, really relax. Because guess what, girls? You're going to have to relax for the next few years. You have to really relax and let this stuff flow and come past you, not come at you, come past you. So I just want you to change the direction of the energy from it's coming at me to I'm seeing it flow past me. I want you to learn how to relax. There is a really good book called How to Live 365 Days a Year. And it's an old book, but it's one of my favorite ones. And this guy teaches this position. You lay in bed, you put your head under pillow, your arms up, your legs under a pillow, you lay down, and you say to yourself over and over again, relax, relax, let go. Let go. You have to start speaking from within yourself to relax, because if you clench like this, you're not going to make it through. You're not going to make it through these next few years. So my message and my homework and my instructions as coach is saying, really, really relax. You got to meditate. You got to breathe. You have to surrender it. You have to be willing to let life surprise you. And you're going to perform better when you're at ease. You have to be at ease. So I'm not here to say to you, get up and fight. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying be ready, be wise, be dynamic, stand up for yourself. But you got to do that in a very relaxed way, almost like these like martial artists. They're not tense, they're relaxed, they're flowing. So I want you to just really, really relax. And the reason why is that you have to rewire your nervous system, because you're going to get burnt out, burnt to hell. And I've had to learn that. You guys know me, especially Lori. You know how high strung I could be when I'm analyzing all of this stuff. And Lori has said to me once when she's cut my hair, she goes, "You're up here, come down here." You said that to me once. So get up from my hair and come down here. And I think that's really good advice. Okay, so I said thank you. Now I'm going to head into the reading time. Is everybody okay for a message from Spirit? Yeah? Okay, here we go. Yeah, Laura, you do gotta relax. Yoga teachers, find your yin, find your yang. If you got a man, find his yang, and you have him give it to your yin. Whatever, girl. Um, okay, and if you don't have a man, we have a whole armoire of toys, right? Okay, here we go. Take a deep breath, everyone. Okay, got some rainbow energy. Okay. Okay, Lori, your first step, girl. You got the rainbow energy. So what I feel around you is just kind of a rainbow energy. The positive news that I'm hearing, Lori, is that you have been working on your healing, which is really good. Because what my guides are saying is, congratulations, you've been working on your healing. It's been very intentional for you. Just working on your healing. And what I hear is like a rearrangement of your mind. You're like, I'm really going to change things up. I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to feel differently. I'm not going to let some people have power over me where I have allowed them to have power over me. It's time for change. It's in what I see, again, two sides of the coin. What I see is that there are some relationships that may fall apart or fall away. So I do see not even tough conversations. It's almost like what I'm hearing is, oh, you want to go? Here's the door. Okay. There is that. There's a release. I said to Frank the other day, life is, I love and I release. I love and I release over and over and over again. And there are some friendships that I hear that are going to be like, okay, it's time for us to part ways. And that's okay. And I'll see you on the other side. I think the message is even if you can't be friends anymore or things are no longer working out, what I'm hearing is like you will see them on the other side in a completely different context. The context right now is not right. What I'm hearing is some people just they're not learning and they don't want to learn. It really is just that simple. They don't want to learn right now. I love that baby. I go crazy for babies. Baby. Very bright energy, that little boy right there. So I just feel like Lori, like you are the one thing the spirit wants me to tell you specifically about you is that you are sunshine. And when you radiate and yet you're loving, that warmth that you give off is very healing. And that I do see in your work, some people coming to you and they're very troubled, and you just being loving and nurturing, and you wash their hair, or you cut them and you make them look good and you make them feel good about themselves. Spirit says you've been wondering about what you could do, and that is good enough. That is good enough. Remember why you started cutting hair. Remember why you started helping people, because that is good enough. And sometimes, and then the message is for the group, but it is for you as well, and even for me, sometimes we wonder, am I doing enough? Am I helping enough? Am I hurting enough of the lambs, You're not, somebody said to me the other day, you're not the shepherd. You are the flock. Remember that. And, God does have it under control. You know what I mean? So it's not for you to, and I know this, and especially if you've grown up Christian, you're supposed to convert. But I did learn that conversion is a kind of a form of conquering. And we don't really want to convert people. We want to be an example of what God has done for us. That love, that joy, that peace. That's what God has done for me. And I want to speak to that, Lori, about this one time I had a relationship with somebody and I was so angry and it was so bad that I was puking. Really, just really angry and was puking because I was so mad. And I had a dream that night that Jesus came to me And in that dream, I saw Jesus. I didn't see his face. I just saw the outline. And in that dream, there was this telepathic communication of like, you don't need to be angry. Like Jesus is just pure love, like that Christ consciousness, like he made it there, right? And so our whole point of this life is to love. And what does it mean to love? What does it mean to be loving? It goes back to that earlier conversation about, I just want to be the most loving version of myself. And I say to Frank, the only thing I want and I reach daily is for the highest version of love. I just reaching for it every day. And so, Lori, as long as you are loving, and I don't mean being nice, I mean being loving, it's, I feel like almost like the mouth of God saying, that's enough. That is enough for me. As long as you are loving, that is enough. You know, we always say, Lord, how can I please you? But it is really what you're doing, helping these people. And some of them, I feel elderly people who sometimes I feel are the most bitter. You know what I mean? I feel like when you're just loving and you're helping people with their hair, that's enough. It really
And
is.
also I feel like if I want to be loved, I need to be loving. I need to love others. And if I'm just mad and angry and full of hate, there's not going to be any love surrounding me. So I have
That
to
is
get into
true.
that space.
That
Gotta
is
get into
so
that
true.
space. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Mama. Okay. Take a deep breath. Laura, this one is for you, girl. I just keep hearing mama, mama, mama. So I do hear some connection to your daughter. So maybe there's like a connection to the daughter situation and kind of like her life and her direction in her life and where she's going right now and these kinds of things. And it's almost like this is silly, but I hear Spirit saying, hold the line for her. You know what I mean? Hold the line for her. Your connection to Spirit is going to help her. So I don't know how, I don't know if she's very spiritual or she's not like she's kind of away from that or she's kind of sidestepped that into more in the material realm of things. But I feel like as long as you, and this is funny, this is for all of us mamas, if you will. I kind of glad I'm hearing this, but as the more connected we are to spirit, the more we hold the line for them. And the better we can parent them and the better we can give them information and guidance and be present for them in the ways that they need it rather than being, what do you call that? When you're nagging on somebody. There is this temptation sometimes to, I wouldn't say to nag, but to be like, well, you could do this and you could do that. And, you know, and it's almost like just be wise. You know what I mean? Like be wise. Okay. What I'm hearing is like for you, Laura, it's like silence, really leaning into the silence, the silence. That's really important, leaning into the silence. So I don't really know much more than that in terms of how that applies to you or how you need to hear that, but it's just kind of like Neville Goddard always says, and now let us go into the silence. And that is a very serene place to be. And myself, having had my near-death experience, the last thing I heard was silence. It was like this supreme silence, and it was like the most peaceful silence. So I feel like you need more time in the silence, in the
Yeah.
silence.
You're absolutely spot on.
Okay.
The situation with my daughter absolutely exploded on Friday.
Oh, damn, girl.
Everything came out, really, everything came out. And I put down a line of conduct, and I told her things that I needed to say, and I'd kept them in for a very, very long time. I had a terrible day yesterday. It was really hard for me. I actually cried all night on Friday, and you're spot on. And what's happening today is she's come back to me with, I'm so sorry, Mum. I am so sorry for what I've done to you. And for you, you've given me everything and I've been horrible to you. And I said, okay, now it's time to take the time to, she's really spiritual, but she hasn't realized, but she's really connected. We went through something, but I'll tell you about it later. But she feels everything. And I think she's even more powerful than me.
Oh, so maybe it's for her to step in more into that.
I
That's
think she
nice.
needed to go through something in order to understand where she can go now. So now I am going to shut up and let her go forward with what she needs to do. Yeah. Brilliant.
Damn, girl.
Thank you so much. You've just given me a confirmation of what I was feeling, and I was feeling so bad. And
Oh
it was
my
like,
God.
thank you.
You're so welcome. And you know what? Autumn says, I'm sending you love.
I know I
Love that. I love emojis. If you see my Instagram, I'm an emoji girl.
thank you.
Awesome. I'm so glad, Laura. Thank you so much for joining today. What an exciting addition to your Magic Hands. I call it Laura Magic Hands. Okay, let's go. Come on, girl. All right, so here we got Autumn here. Okay, so this is interesting. All I hear and all I feel is like business, business, business. So I don't know if it's like business or work. If that makes any sense. I just feel like that's like the big deal. That's the center focus right now, the business idea. The other thing that I'm hearing is like, from what I'm hearing from Spirit, is there is a money component as well. Like we got to set you up, we got to build that, we got to get the wealth situation. So there's business, but then behind that's wealth. I kind of see it like a pie chart, but it like a bullseye. So we've got business and then wealth. So that's going to be for the next few years. I'm seeing 4 to 5 years connection to that, and in prioritizing that. The positive thing, as I'm hearing, is that your wealth is actually going to increase over the next 4 to 5 years. I don't feel any kind of reversal, because I hear reversal, like there was something that you experienced and you're not going back to that. So I feel a leap forward. I try not to get too personal or details, so I try to say things in a way that's like conveys on these live things. So I'm hearing also for you, Autumn, something about, oh, Spirit saying, let me lead the way. I want you to say, kind of like your homework is, okay, God, lead the way. Show me where to go. Tell me where my footsteps should go. Tell me what meetings I should be in. There's some people around you you can't trust. I'm gonna tell you that. I feel like there's some people who have a smile on their face and you cannot trust them. They lying to you. Oh, you're gonna be being able to spot liars going forward. You're gonna be able to tell, like poker player. They're saying, "Oh, she's gonna see the liars." There's a woman in particular who smiles to your face, and she's a snake. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I bet I know who that is because I feel
Okay.
it.
It's interesting because with you, I feel very, I wouldn't say calm and in control, but calm and in control. I feel like there is this part of you that you got to tap more into that knows everything that's going on. I would say operate from that part of yourself. There is, say it. And I want you all to repeat this. If you watch this again in the video, say this to yourself. There is a part of me that is calm and in control and that knows everything that is going on, and that has a handle on this, that is capable, that is clear-sighted, and that can overcome this and can deal with this in an appropriate way. I feel like there is this part of you. It's almost like to the back, but I feel like she's coming forward now. She's more forward. So I feel as you go forward, your financial situation is going to get even better. The business situation, you're going to be a little bit more mindful about your relationships. And that's so funny because sometimes when I'm thinking of all the times that I've failed in myself, I've had like kind of failures in my business in the beginning of my career, I felt used or I felt taken advantage of. That was such an important learning lesson because I was able to see behavior in business. And from those moments, I've been able to spot them going forward. And I've been able to help other people. So I would not say that you're going to have any failures. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just going to say you're going to have moments. And you've had moments where you're like, okay, I feel like somebody's showing me something about themselves or the situation leverage that going forward. Moments for leverage. Moments for leverage. I feel like the business realm is going to go. I don't even know anything about what you do. I haven't Googled you, but I just feel business wise, you're going to be going forward. But I am going to Google what you do for business later. I want some evidence. I want to see what it is that you're doing.
I'll tell you later. I'll tell you
Okay, tell me.
after, but that's funny. That's funny that you brought that up because I tried to start my own business and out of fear, I stopped. Fear of money.
Okay. Well, I hope you read
And
my book, The Money Formula.
I will now.
There you go.
But I've always felt like I needed to go back into like starting something. But I mean, I would say I don't know what, but I've been told many times of what. I'm just not doing it.
Okay. All right. Be brave and be bold because it's going to get better. I just feel that it's going to get better. But like I said, there is a part of me, a bigger part of me, a brighter part of me that knows exactly what to do, knows exactly how to proceed. And you have to summon that part of yourself forward. And I'm saying this to all of us. I'm saying it to myself, really. Everything I tell you, I'm like, take notes. Take note, girl. Look in the mirror and take note. I humble myself before the Lord. I tell you that. Okay, thank you. I'm so glad. I can't wait to hear on the back end. And if there's any other follow-up with you guys, with you ladies on the back end, and you want to follow up with something or you want more clarification, just message me. It's fine. And as always, you can book a session with me. It's not going to break your pocketbook, for sure. So let's do that. Okay. Ali. Okay, this is interesting. The energy in a weird way, I kind of feel like you kind of felt like I'm in a little bit ripped to shreds. There's this little bit like I feel a little bit of that. I don't know if you've been spread thin or you've been ripped to shreds in a metaphorical point of view, or something is being kind of like run ragged. I don't know, but that's the metaphor. That's the feeling that I'm getting. It's just kind of like that. I feel the sense of feeling a little frayed because I'm seeing fabric and it's a little frayed, a little tattered, but it's still in one piece. That's what I'm seeing. So I just feel, again, going to the sense of this inner part of yourself, this bold and this brave and this strong part of yourself. I feel she's stepping forward. I almost feel like you're heading in for a personality change, like in a good way, like a really good personality change. More optimistic, happier, but also a little bit more badass, a little bit more, and we need it. We need it. It's funny because as the next 2 years, because I see for about 2 years me doing these monthly things. I feel you ladies are going to be bigger and braver and bolder than ever before. You're going to be more badass. I just see these aspects of yourselves coming forward, and it's going to be such a big, big thing. You guys are going to be so big. And I'm just excited for that because, Ali, I feel that your energy, I feel like you kind of kept it down a little bit like this. You contained yourself. And what I'm saying is like, it's kind of like Chernobyl, holding on to this nuclear energy. Let it out. It is weird because sometimes when we're angry and we have like frustration energy or whatever that might be, and then we can feel like kind of rumbling under the surface. Because we're so caring and kind and loving, we're afraid to let it out and we don't want to be hurtful with that energy. I just say this from a metaphorical point of view, is that you do have this power inside of you. Don't be afraid to let it burst out of you. And you're saying, okay, well, that's very, metaphysical or abstract. Okay, be a little bit more specific. How could I visualize this? I want you to imagine, Ali, when you're laying in bed, you say, okay, I'm here in my bed and I have this body in this bed, and I close my eyes and I see my body in this bed. But I want you to imagine yourself even bigger than that. I am beyond my bed. Okay, so it's not your body. Okay, go beyond your bed, go beyond your house, go beyond the city, go beyond the state, go beyond the nation, go beyond the earth, go bigger and bigger and bigger. That's you. And I say that is bye. Oh, okay, bye, Laura, if you have to go. If the thing is with you, Laura, Allie, is that I think you're going to be more famous in what you do. The word famous. I don't fling that around, you know what I mean? I don't fling that around to everybody. And having worked with famous people, I wouldn't recommend it. I feel whatever you're doing, you could be more famous in. Does that make sense? I know that sounds weird.
I will say the aspect of like bringing myself out for like that bigger view. I used to do that a lot as a kid and be like, okay, what if I could like go further and further and further and further and like really get the bigger picture. So that really resonates. And I don't know why it is that that like feels so like intrinsic to me, but I love like, yeah, pulling back and like how far back can I just like keep taking this whole um picture and like it almost goes to like the life itself. Like, what if there was nothing, but we have everything and just taking it all in. I really love that full expansive view. So that really, I don't know, resonates in a big way.
Oh, cool. And you know what's even cooler is that as you expand yourself and become your awareness becomes a part of the state. So you can see the awareness of the state. You go out and you spread to the awareness of the country. You can see from the vantage point of the country. So what I'm sensing is from this, not even metaphorical, is literal expansion of yourself. And you're looking at this and you're getting this bigger picture. You're going to feel a lot better because you're going to be able to see things and understand things better. I feel like you need to understand things in order to feel better. It's an interesting thing because sometimes I can work with some people and I can just get them to feel better by doing a few switches. Some people need to be explained to. You need to explain things to them, and from that understanding, they feel better. I feel like you can help yourself by doing that, by saying, okay, take me from the state level. Show me what's going on the state level. Show me from my company level. Show me from this because you and all of us, may I add, all of us can do that. So I feel as the more you gain, the Bible says, in all you're getting, get understanding. This really applies here for you to expand yourself and fully understand that. Oh, do what you need to do, girl. I'll wait for you. Don't worry.
We're about to leave to the zoo, so I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for everything, Leslie. This has been super helpful.
You're welcome and enjoy the zoo. I freaking loved it. We used to go to the zoo all the time when my kids are little, so I understand. So have fun. I'm so glad. Thanks for joining us and enjoy your babies.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, girl.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, I feel like on a personal level, I feel like we're all doing pretty damn good. And from a spiritually family energy, I feel like we're going to be great. And it is important that we continue to hold on to each other and allow ourselves to be instruments of love, to be powerhouses of love, do no harm, take no shit. And yeah, I feel like that's the message today. Do no harm, take no shit, be an instrument of love, etc. Does anybody have any final thoughts?
Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. I think everybody kind of had to go. Okay,
Yes,
Lori rolled out, Laura rolled out. Okay, so anyway, so thank you for joining and then tell me, I'm gonna stop the recording.